Pretty sure I'm off. Good afternoon. Wednesday, July 17th, 2024. This is the regular monthly board meeting of the Augsburg Bridge and Port Authority. I call this meeting to order. Before we go any further, I would ask for a moment of silence for former board members Chris Coffin's wife, Pat. I've known Chris and Pat a long time. They've been good friends to the authority in the North Country, and Pat will surely be missed. So I ask for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Mr. Lawrence, any letters or communications to the board?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Approval of board minutes, June 13th, Finance Committee meeting, and the June 13th, 2024 board meeting. Have they been reviewed?
Yes, they have. Everything looks to be in order and accurate. So if we could bundle them together, I would a motion for their approval.
Do you make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
So the board minutes of June 13th, Finance Committee, and the board meeting of June 13th, 2024. All those in favor of acceptance, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So carried. Reports. Presentation and reports, the 2023-2024 audit. I believe, do we have someone online?
Doug? Can you hear
Yes.
us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Everyone, this is Doug Zimmerman from EFPR Group. Who would you call yourself? Our partner?
I'm the engagement partner. I'm also the managing partner of our government practice.
So it's, I give the floor to you, sir.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. As was mentioned, I'm here to present the results of the audit for the April 1st, 2023 through March 31st, 2024 financial statements. We actually prepare 4 documents in connection with the engagement that we prepare for the authority. There's the overall financial statements. There is a separate report that we prepare with regards to your New York State DOT requirements and funding. Then there's a separate report we prepare. It's a schedule of passenger facility charges. And then there's a 4th document that's a report to the board, which is required communication between an audit firm and the governing body. We prepared a brief board summary, and I'll walk through that and certainly be happy to answer any questions anyone may have. Again, the financial statements have been reviewed and approved by management. We're issuing what's called an unmodified or a clean opinion on the financial statements of the organization, including the DOT money, the New York State DOT money. There were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in the internal controls of the authority. There was one instance of non-compliance, and that had to do with the requirements are that all of your funds in financial institutions be fully collateralized. And there was a misunderstanding by one of the banks with regards to an account and how it was classified. And so it was under collateralized, reported in the single audit. Certainly it was a bank error, and they're in the process of correcting that, hopefully. We certainly received everything that we requested from management in order to prepare the audit. On the financial statement side, your total assets amounted to a little over $121 million. And that was a small 0.2% increase from the prior year. The change was mainly due to an increase in your grants receivable from the state, partially offset by no longer reporting your proportionate share of the net pension asset. And by no longer reporting it, what happened, and you'll see this mentioned a couple of times, you get information from the New York State pension system, from the state controller's office, And you have no control over that. You have no authority over the investments of that. That's really handled at the controller's office. They basically send you your required funding, and then at the end of every fiscal year, they send you a report that shows what's called your proportionate share of the state's financial for the pension system. In the 2023 financial statements, the state's pension system was overfunded, or there were more assets in the state pension system than the present value of the liabilities. That changed for the 24 fiscal year, and so it was an asset in 23, and then it was a liability in 24. So that results in a change in your total assets, and you're going to see that result in a change in your total liabilities as well. But again, it's something that the authority has no control over. You're really just one of the hundreds of participants in that statewide pension system. There's another line called deferred outflow of resources, and that amounted to $1.3 million, and that was consistent with the prior year. On the total liability side, that amounted to $33.9 million, and that was a 10% increase. And again, was basically resulting from that, what I just mentioned, the now liability share of your proportionate share of the state pension, along with changes in the OPEB or other post-employment benefits. And for anyone that's not familiar with that, you're providing retiree health insurance. And so every year there's a calculation that's made for effectively the present value of what it's going to cost for those retiree health insurances. And that is reported as a liability on the financials as well. And there was also an increase in your accounts payable. There's also another line called deferred inflow of resources, and that amounted to $14.7 million. And that was a 15% decrease in the prior year. And again, there were changes in the actuarial assumptions regarding, again, the pension system along with OPEB. So you hear that pension and OPEB changes will impact various balance sheet accounts on your financial statements. There was also an amortization of your various leases. And so last year there was a new accounting standard, last year meaning 2023, which required you to treat leases in a different way. And so there is a deferred revenue that is now on your financial statements in the deferred inflow section. And so that's being adjusted each year as those leases continue on. We prepared a brief summary of your statements. Again, your total assets were $121 million. Total liabilities, $33.9 million. And your net position, which is effectively tied up in the capital assets of the organization, was $73.9 million. Your net position decreased by a relatively small amount based on that size of $277,000. And that is really what was on your income statement side. So on the income statement side, revenues were just under $7.2 million. Operating expenses were just under $16.5 million. So there was an operating loss of $9.2 million. You received non-operating income of just over $9 million, and that was a 16% decrease from last year. And the change there, and that is really related to funding for harbor deepening funds, which occurred in the prior year, and that was offset by increases in state grants in the current year. So when you take the operating loss of $9.2 million against the non-operating income of just over $9 million, that gives you that change in your financial statements on the revenue side for the fiscal year of $277,000. In comparison, it was an increase of $3.6 million. But again, that was really driven by the harbor deepening project last year, and then the changes in the pension and the OPEB. And then that 277 is added to the beginning of the year net position. That gives us that just under $74 million of net position at the end of the year. Again, that's a very high-level overview of the financial results and of the various reports that we issued. And I'd certainly be happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Anyone? Before I start? No? Doug, I do have a question. Well, actually, first of all, in your, the summary for the board, you mentioned the increase in our accounts payable. I'm sure you're aware, because it's been stated, that due to the border being closed and the fact that actually even our budget was in a deficit, that we requested stabilization funds from the state of New York.
Yep.
And because it's taken longer than I certainly wished, that we had to defer some accounts payable, which may account for the increase that was there. Overall, go ahead.
I was going to say that is exactly what's going on. State government does not move very fast, as everyone I'm sure knows.
Yeah, we know that. The one question I have, I don't want this to go too long. I've asked our CFO, actually on page 37 of your report, for the
Okay, hang on.
OBPA liability,
Yes.
could you explain the changes in benefit terms, the $565,000?
Okay, this is a summary. As you can see, it's presenting the last 5 years of data, and there's a note on the bottom that eventually this schedule will show 10 years worth of data. And this was changed a few years back. But what this is that ending number that you see there, the $2,059,000. That's the liability that is on your financial statements as of March 31st of 24, and the $1,298,000 is the liability that was there at March 31st of 23. And so the numbers in the 24 column, the service cost, the change in benefit terms that you talked about there, the difference in the expected versus the actual rates, that is all information that your actuary prepares. So you hire a third-party actuary that gets all your various census data and then prepares a valuation of the OPEB liability. So what we do is we utilize that report to basically complete this schedule and adjust the financial statement liability. So we're not the actuary that is making those calculations and preparing that report. So unfortunately, I can't give you the nuances of what generated the various numbers on there, because again, you're hiring a third-party actual actuarial firm that prepares that computation for the authority.
Okay. So I noticed on page 33, they give healthcare cost trend rates. They've got for 2024 almost 8%. So I'm sure that has something to do with it too.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they're using data to prepare these with regards to national and local trend rates, life expectancies. All of that information is utilized for them to adjust based on your census and the age of your employee population.
Okay, thank you. That cleared that up for me. That was the main question I had. Thank you for complimenting our staff, that they were easy to work with and supplied you with all the information you needed. I find your report to be very well done, easy to read, easy to go through, and thank you for your clean opinion.
Thank you very much. And again, we can't give you a clean opinion if management and the entire accounting staff isn't doing everything they need to do throughout the year to be able to get to the end result of producing these financial statements.
So we should keep Patty here?
Probably, yes.
Good, she's under contract. Doug, thank you.
All right.
Anyone
thank
else?
you, everyone.
Anything?
Good evening.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Good. That's good. Hang on to that so we can,
If you would like to be put to sleep, I do have the actuary.
that's okay. No, that's good. Actually, one more thing that I should have mentioned earlier. It is our new members' first meeting. Diane Parra, thank you. We're happy that you're here
Glad to be here.
and hope you enjoy everything that we go through. Feel free to ask questions of the staff anytime during the board meeting. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to answer. And if they don't answer correctly, I'll make note of it,
Okay.
just so you know. Okay, the finance committee report.
So the finance committee has met and we reviewed the May financials. Everything looked in order, but I'll turn it over to Patty so she can highlight for the rest of the board some of the high points.
Okay, thank you. If we start with the statement of financial position, just a couple of things to highlight. Our accounts receivable regular under our current assets are at 119. 96% of that open accounts receivable is either current or 1 to 30 days. So we continue with the trend of getting timely remittance on our invoicing. Our accounts receivable AEAS is up because we have 2 months in there. We have a current AEAS bill and a current reimbursement from DOT. Sometimes we only have one, sometimes we have the two. Our fuel inventory changes every April 1st, so this number will not change until the end of the fiscal year in March of 25. Our prepaid expenses are all prepaid insurance. Our construction in progress is at 8.6, and on page 2, you do see the breakout of the top 4 projects. As we discussed in the finance committee meeting, we are waiting for 2 things to close out the MALSF program, and at that point, the MALSF will leave construction progress and become part of our assets. Our accounts payable, our regular accounts payable is at 661. Our AEAS contour is at 406. That is 1 month's contour invoice, which both Charlie and I received from Contour. Charlie sends me an email, says, looks good, go ahead and pay it, and then we pay it. Our New York retirement is stable at 124. Unfortunately, it hasn't moved since February. All our project accounts payable is just over $1 million. At the end of June, beginning of July, all of that was paid off with reimbursements that have come in from the projects that we were waiting for to make these payments. If we look at the regular accounts payable, our top 10 vendors on the next page, you'll see that a few payments have been made during the course of June. Our stabilization funding will pay off the 143, the 35, the 33, the 26, the second 26, and the 23. So once that funding actually does get here, we will be in a better position. Operational expenses are covered by the stabilization funding, not what they consider administration, so debt is not covered. But a lot of our operational funding will be covered. And on a side note there, with the stabilization funding, I was informed today that we should see that in 7 to 10 business days. So we expect that funding to finally appear about the beginning of August. Any questions on the statement of financial position? If not, we'll move on to the budget to actual. And as we are only 2 months in, we don't have harsh winters or other things to really bulk up some of the expenses. So most of our expenses are under budget, which is wonderful, starting out the year. Our bridge revenue was budgeted at 80%. We did not change that this year because the trend has just not been stable at much higher than the 80%. We have come in right now.
No, it was good, keep going.
Oh, at approximately 84%, so we are a little bit above budget. Our airport revenue is above budget. Our fuel sales, thanks to the restructuring of the expenses that Charlie did out at the airport, has given us some additional income on the fuel sales. Our AEAS income is dependent on how many flights our airline makes. They didn't make as many as we budgeted for, so the income is down, but the expense is down the same amount, so it's an offset. Our industrial park is staying ahead of the game. Our port revenue is still solid, and our railroad revenue, we have some easements that our economic development director put through a couple of months ago. So we're seeing that come in. Any questions on the budget actual?
None? No one? Questions? Any other questions of Patty?
Finance committee report again, just want to thank you, Patty, for your work with the auditors and making sure that you're clean on it. I know it's a lot of work that you keep up with to get us into this, to move us along in a positive financial manner. So thank you for your dedication and your team as well.
Anything else, Nicole, for finance
That's
committee?
it. I'm all set.
Thank you. Okay. That takes care of the income expense report, bridge traffic report.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. As Patty mentioned, we're doing a little bit better than budget. So we're running about, overall crossings are running about 15% down over our anchor year of 2019. Auto crossings are down 16.1%, and truck traffic is down by 8% over 2019. Overall revenue is down $60,000 over June of 2019, but revenue is up $10,000 over last year. But you can see in the bottom, we keep a running total of the year, and you can see that we're down $174,000 for the calendar year based on a normal year of 2019, which is money that we will not recover. So, any questions on the report?
Once again, for Diane's benefit, why do we compare this year to 2019?
2019 was our last, it was generally a representative year
Before COVID.
Before COVID. So we needed something just to track and to match on that. So that's what we've used, kind of to see how we're doing coming out of COVID.
Anyone have any questions? Bridge traffic? On airport activity, Charlie?
Yes, for the month of June, we're still continuing with about 50 flights, 457 enplanements, just about 30% load factors. Completion rate still at 90%, but on-time performance has dropped to 73% for the month. Again, many due to mechanical issues again. And then we have not seen some of the SkyWest plane being flown around in this area yet, which is the issue we're seeing right now, that the plane's not getting, still same exact situation, 3 legs, us, Altoona, and Plattsburgh, with 2 planes running. And as soon as one is down, then one airport has to suffer. You know, pretty much both airports has to suffer for one airport. So So we're still trying to keep it up, but as of right now, I think he's still working on it. spoke to him recently, but there's still work to be done, but right now we're looking at still 70% on time performance.
When do you anticipate an announcement from federal DOT on the bids received?
Yes, the latest I have heard, we should get a DOT announcement, official announcement early August.
Early August?
Correct.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for Charlie? You have a few resolutions in here for hangars, is that right, Charlie?
That's for Anthony. Correct.
Anthony. Charlie's airport. Yes, it is. Board activity report.
Okay, so as you can see from the first spreadsheets, we had no salt activity, which is pretty typical. I know this time last year we were receiving our first vessels, but we actually reached out and our customer informed us that they're still waiting on New York State bid to be finalized, so that's kind of holding back, who's awarded. So we expect soon to hear news on possibly who wins that. And as far as the thaw rocks, they're going to schedule a call, maybe get the third-party customer who supplies the fluid to get that ball rolling. It's a lot easier to do the whole process in better weather, maybe not 90 degrees, but if we can do it in September again.
Is that inventory amount, thaw rocks, lower than it has been the last couple of years?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah, I think they typically, the last couple of years, want to be almost up to 20,000 tons, so that number is very minor compared to where they're going to want to be, so.
Right. Thank you.
On to ag product. We received 5 meal cars totaling in a little over 450 tons. Trucked out nearly almost the same, just over 450. And for pellets, we trucked out 106 tons, depleting inventory. We did receive 5 rail cars July 5th or 6th, so we have product back. We did have an ingredient audit and just some minor clerical things to complete an internal audit, basically tracking product start to finish once a year. Just tidying up stuff, documenting a little better the routine daily stuff that we do, document it, have charts, cleaning procedures, but only minor findings that are being 90% probably corrected already. Just some stuff that I have to take care of, kind of policy-wise.
Is that unusual to be out of pellets?
Yeah, I don't know if, it seems like their production is hit or miss where they're having internal issues every once in a while.
Well, like you said, we've received more in the month of July.
Yep.
Good. Anything else? Any questions of James?
Okay.
There has been.
Good to know.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, there's nothing. Okay. Economic Development Report, including building occupancy.
Yes, so pleased to continue reporting that occupancy on the Commerce Park campus is holding a steady 88% occupied. We have a handful of various spaces of different sizes that we're still working on getting leased out. So I like this number, this percentage to be higher, but all things considered,
Thank you.
we're maintaining, and our turnover rate for tenants is near zero. So that's a very good thing. A couple of highlights over the past month, a lot of effort on the part of the operations team on getting the Commerce Park appearance improved, despite equipment failures and things like that. The team's been really coming through to improve our presence, so that's good. We've been dealing with just routine tenant requests, things of that nature, new things that cropped up that we haven't had to deal with in the past, and we're managing through that very well. Efforts continue on the design of the child care facility, as I think some folks have seen the plans behind us, so that keeps moving forward, which we're very excited about. And then there's been some activity in the background on the airport project for utility work, which you'll see a resolution presented today for a portion of that. And that's the report for today.
So, not to put you on the spot, but I'm doing. If you had a 50,000 square foot building, could you fill it this year?
Calendar year?
I guess I should have clarified. I'll give you a little leeway.
If we could
Fiscal
have
year.
one ready to go, I think we'd have a good chance of filling it. The way the market is.
Want to make sure that gets in the minutes,
For the record.
because I'm going to use that.
Brand new.
The next road
50,000
trip.
square feet.
Okay, good. Anyone have any questions of Anthony? No? Dave, no questions on the grain binge down at the port? Good. Keep his feet to the fire, right? There you go. Gotta earn his money somehow. So Lawrence, is there any unfinished business?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let's go to business items. Agenda item A1.
Agenda item A1 is general administration. It is the acceptance of the federal aid local project agreement for the OBPA bridge maintenance and rehabilitation project for the Ogdensburg Prescott International Bridge. The Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority has received a grant from the New York State Department of Transportation and the Federal Highway Administration in the amount of $13 million for OBPA bridge maintenance and rehabilitation project for the Ogdensburg Prescott International Bridge. This resolution authorizes the implementation and funding of $188,000 for initial project design work in the first instance 100% of federal aid and state program aid eligible costs of transportation, federal aid, and appropriating funds therefore.
Okay,
This is a certified resolution, so I don't know, Mr. Chairman, would you like me to read the
yes.
resolution? Whereas a project for the OBPA bridge maintenance and rehabilitation project in 775428, known as the project, is eligible for funding under Title 23 U.S. Code as amended that calls for the apportionment of the cost of such programs to be borne at ratios as shown in Schedule A of this agreement. Whereas the Board of Directors desires to advance the project, now therefore the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority Board duly convened does hereby resolve that the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority hereby approves the above subject project, and hereby further resolve that the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority Board of Directors hereby authorizes the executive director of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority to pay in the first interest 100% of the federal aid and non-federal share of the cost of $188,000 work for the project or portions thereof. And it is further resolved that the sum of $188,000 is hereby appropriated from the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority capital budget and made available to cover the cost of participation in the above phase of the project. And it is further resolved that in the event the full federal and non-federal share costs of the project exceeds the amount appropriated above, the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority Board of Directors shall convene as soon as possible to appropriate said excess amount immediately upon the notification by the executive director. Therefore, it is further resolved that the executive director of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority be and is hereby named as the responsible local official, RLO, of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority, and is authorized to execute all necessary agreements, certifications for reimbursement requests for federal aid on behalf of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority Board of Directors with the New York State Department of Transportation in connection with the advancement or approval of the project, and providing the administration of the project and the authority's first interest funding and project costs, and permanent funding of the local share of the federal aid and state aid eligible project costs, and all project costs within portions, therefore, that are not so eligible. It is further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be filed with the New York State Commissioner of Transportation by attaching it to any necessary agreement in connection with the project. And it's further resolved this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Thank you. Their motion,
Also moved.
second. Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Not Karen, call the roll, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Pittman?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Kara?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item A2.
The acceptance of the 23-24 audited financials. EFPR Group, auditors from the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority, have carried out the site work for and prepared the audited financial statements for fiscal year ended March 31st, 2024. The financial statements were presented to the board of directors from the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority on July 17th, 2024.
Thank you. So we've heard from Doug from the EFPR group. We had the opportunity to ask questions of him. They're giving us a clean opinion, which is very good. So we need a motion to accept this.
So moved.
Made
I'll second.
and seconded. Any discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Ms. Pittman?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Kara?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Thank you. Agenda item B1.
Agenda item B1, approval of Jacobson mower repair. The authority's 2013 Jacobson mower, which is an important piece of equipment for keeping up with the lawn care of the OBPA's expansive grounds, has been experiencing engine and overheating issues. Maintenance employees spent the spring going through the mower, repairing those items that appeared to be causing the issues. Unfortunately, those repairs have not solved the problems. MTE Equipment Solutions, a Jacobson dealer and certified service repair shop, was contacted to inspect and offer a quote for these repairs. Their diagnosis and quote for repairs is attached. Staff reviewed the details of this repair service and recommends procuring the services from MTE with their detailed knowledge of the Jacobson line of equipment.
Motion?
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion.
I have a question.
Good. Me too.
So, 11 years old and, $8,000 for repairs. How much does a new one cost? I'm sorry. Yes, that's what I mean. I was getting there. I'm leading into it.
You're way ahead of me.
How much is a new machine versus $8,000 repair for an 11-year-old machine?
And in closed version of what we have is $105,000.
Did you shop around? Oh my gosh, really? So that's like the industry.
Other brands are 80, 90,000.
This one was 75, brand new.
Okay,
And we've gone through two of them since, well, this is the second one. And it's been over the years, it's definitely been worth having. But I think the first one was like 35 or 38,000 back in 2004. And then we had an issue with the fire on them. To replace that, I think it was 60 or 70,000 in 2013. So 105 to me is in over 10 years.
okay.
It's
So I know no one has like, a crystal ball, but how much longer will this extend the life of this machine on
So-
average?
If you look at the quote, the unit meter, hour meter only reads 1,000, but it was replaced at 1,100 and change. So technically it has about 2,300 hours on it.
Mhm.
Anthony has a good engine mechanical background, and so he and I sat on a call, and the gentleman told us that 5,000 to 6,000 hours is
The
a
expected
good
life.
expected life.
Okay.
So it's about half its life.
Can you tell? What do we use a year? Average hours.
So 23 divided by
Oh, I'd say
11.
probably 20 to 25 hours a week for getting in May through maybe first week October. So
So
5 months.
So 100.
1,200
Probably
a
about
year?
500,
500.
550.
Yeah, because that would be, we don't know, 20 months, yeah.
So you're thinking we can get another 5 or 6 years out of this?
I would think so. Yeah.
Considering a new one is 105.
8,000. It's a bargain. Well,
Well,
if we had to, yeah.
Most of this is motor.
Yeah.
What's the price of the motor?
I don't know that.
Because it would come in warranty, likely would come in such. You guys might look into that.
No, I honestly did not ask that question. 10 years out of it, and it's still only at half its life. I didn't think about engine. I didn't honestly think it was necessary. I understand what you're saying, but I figured if it still had half life left, that even if we got another 5 years, not expecting.
It's good.
oh, yeah. Yeah. Good question.
I don't disagree with you. I would certainly ask. That's the hard part. You're asking for approval, and I would ask about that. Guessing you can't do it. I really want to delay.
Yeah, I was concerned about a part had been disassembled and installed incorrectly. I don't know if that was on our part or theirs, since you said it was used when we got it?
No, it was brand new, so staff reinstalled incorrectly.
Oh. Okay. Well, considering the cost of a new one and what we believe to be life of it once it's repaired, it may be the best we can do. But consider Dave's question before we go through this again. Motion's been made and seconded, correct? Yes? Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Kara?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King?
No.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Okay. Agenda item C1.
Okay, approval of lease supplement number 1 with NAC Logistics. Staff has negotiated lease supplement number 1 with NAC Logistics for 10,000 square feet of warehousing space in Building 3 of the Commerce Park campus for a 6-month period commencing September 1st, 2024 and terminating February 28th of 2025 at a rate of $4.34 per square foot, equaling $3,616.67 per month, $21,702 for the 6-month period, exclusive of utilities. All other terms and conditions of the original lease agreement shall remain in full force and effect and are hereby ratified and affirmed.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Second?
Second.
Seconded. Question I didn't ask, because I think you do it, Anthony,
Mhm.
is during the audit, they talked about future value of leases and everything.
Mhm.
But we make sure we're covering a certain increase when it's reasonable
Mhm.
with who we have in the park, correct?
Correct, yeah. Yeah, we have a ballpark figure, a minimum that we like to shoot for. But if the tenant's been out of adjustment for a long time, like in this instance, so they're a long-term tenant, the business hasn't fully rebounded since the pandemic.
Right.
So this rate, this $4.34 is their current rate. But they have been notified that future after the 6-month period, the minimum we will accept is a year, and that the rate increase will go up by approximately 9.5% to try, in an effort to right-size them for that, for the market.
Good. Makes me feel better about that discussion. Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Karen, call the roll, please.
Ms. Kara?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King? Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes. Agenda item D1.
Approval of T-Hanger lease agreement with Frederick A. Probin. Staff has negotiated a new lease agreement with Frederick A. Probin for T-Hanger number 3 at the Ogdensburg International Airport for a 1-year period commencing September 1st, 2024 and terminating August 31st, 2025 at a rate of $240 per month or $2,880 for the 1-year period, inclusive of utilities.
Thank you. Motion?
So,
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Excuse me. Jen, call the roll, please. I'm sorry, Karen.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King?
yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Kara?
Yes.
Just wanted to see if you're awake.
Good thing he gets it right, right?
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a real good thing. Agenda item D2.
Okay, approval of T-Hanger lease agreement with Glassbox Research Company. Staff has negotiated a new lease agreement with Glassbox Research Company for T-Hanger number 5, the Ogdensburg International Airport for a 1-year period commencing September 1st, 2024, and terminating August 31st of 2025 at a rate of $240 per month or $2,880 for the 1-year period, inclusive of utilities.
Thank you. Motion?
Also move.
Second?
Second.
Made and seconded. Any discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Mr. King? Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Kara?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Agenda item D3.
Okay, so approval of customer estimate sheet and grant of easement with Liberty Utilities Corp. In furtherance of the OGS Gateway Improvement Project and to improve airport operational efficiencies in the new facility, Staff has engaged Liberty Utilities Corp. to supply natural gas service to OGS. The estimated cost for the installation of the natural gas main and associated easement documentation is approximately $15,222.22, which is anticipated to be paid for by the Gateway Improvement Project funding. The utility plan drawings outlining the installation path is provided as Exhibit A of this resolution.
Thank you. There a motion
So moved.
made, seconded. Any discussion before mine?
So just a little background. So the airport currently uses propane as its primary fuel source.
Right.
We have an opportunity to upgrade to natural gas at this time. And anticipated improvements over propane or a lower fuel cost. Eliminates the risk of running out of fuel. It's a continuous supply. Provides better performance of the HVAC systems in the terminal building. As you can see on the utility plan outline, gas currently would begin at the veterinary clinic
Right.
across from the 812 on ramp to
So it's the
37.
red line on the map.
Yep, red line on the map. That's subject to change slightly depending on orientation of the water easement, water pipe.
Okay.
So it should be a no increase in cost necessarily, is where you'll cut over sooner than you'll end. We anticipate that it won't be much difference in the linear footage, which is approximately 2,100 feet.
So I think I can read this properly. It ends before we get to the FBO?
Nope, that would be, no, it doesn't go to the FBO. It ends at the,
Why not?
to maintain project costs. That's a future expansion that we can consider, but
Yeah, you couldn't fund that. This is certainly within the bounds of the Gateway project. We couldn't go beyond that to take care of it.
But I'm sorry, go ahead.
And another thing to keep in mind is that now this property, which will be the location of the future OFA bus garage, will be also serviced by natural gas. So this adds, it's further development for that parcel.
Oh, which isn't shown on here.
Correct.
So the 15,222 is our cost,
That's project cost, yes.
right? And it's contingent upon what we had put into the budget for this, which is why we're not extending it to the FBO.
Yeah, the project wouldn't pay for anything beyond outside the project members.
But in the future, we could, I assume it would be at our cost.
Oh, yes, or it might be related to the snow removal building that there's some money in there for utilities and that it's a $3.5 or $4 million budget. There is money in there for bring water and bring utilities. The one thing we did have an issue with, DOT would not grant Liberty the ability to go down the right of way on 812. Once against the right of way becomes an issue. So that's why.
Because of the new line they're putting in, or?
The new line, that's why we're giving them an easement. They're coming outside of the property or
Right.
The right of way with the highway and coming down our property. So
Yeah.
I imagine going forward, if you were going down 812, they'll have to be on our property because I can't see
Okay.
DOT saying, oh yeah, now you can go back on the,
Right.
even though there's a number of utilities, they have to be underground because of the airport.
Right.
They take up a lot of that space.
That explains why. I saw the red line, I'm thinking, wait a minute, that doesn't go all the way over to Charlie's place,
It'll be over propane then?
I will continue with progress.
still propane. Okay. something we could consider in the future, like you say. Maybe there's funding because of where the, snow removal.
Yep.
Okay, all right, I'm good. Anyone else, any questions of Anthony? No? Again, it's been made and seconded. No further questions. Karen, call the roll, please.
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item E1.
So approval of lease supplement number 9 with Corning Incorporated. Staff has negotiated lease supplement number 9 with Corning Incorporated for 15,000 square feet of commercial warehousing space in Building 4 at the Port of Ogdensburg for a 2-year period commencing September 1st, 2025 and terminating August 31st of 2027 at a rate of $2.73 per square foot for the period beginning September 1st, 2025 and ending August 31st of 2026, equaling $3,412.50 per month, $40,950 for the 1-year period, and at a rate of $2.80 per square foot for the period beginning September 1st, 2026, and ending August 31st, 2027, equaling $3,500 per month or $42,000 for the 1-year period, inclusive of utilities. All other terms and conditions of the original lease agreement shall remain in full force and effect and are hereby ratified and affirmed.
Thank you. Motion? Made by Dave, second,
Second.
and seconded. Any discussion? Corning's been down at the port for quite a while now.
Yes, yeah, they're a longtime tenant at the port. Rather pleased that they were interested in renewing early. It's about a year in advance.
Good.
And just to put this in perspective, these rates reflect approximately 3% increase each year.
Good. Any other discussion, any other questions of Anthony? If not, Karen, call the roll, please.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Karen?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Agenda item E2.
This is for the port dock expansion project approval work order number 24-02 with FBD Engineering Services. FBD Engineering Services SC has provided the authority with work order 2402 agreement to perform State Environmental Quality Review Act seeker implementation for the terminal and modifying dredging disposal location as part of the channel deepening project Ogdensburg Harbor. The scope of services for this contract will be complete upon finalization of the seeker process. The seeker process is performed as a task to move towards the MERIT grant agreement. Any work performed prior to the grant agreement is not eligible for reimbursement under the MERIT PIDP protocol, I guess. The work will have to be funded solely by the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority. The work order number 2402 FBD costs associated with providing these services are on a time and material basis in order to provide the most flexibility to move this project forward with a total amount not to exceed $5,000. Staff recommends approval of this agreement with FBD Engineering Services.
Thank you. Motion
So moved.
and second.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Question, we have to amend that. Yes, I don't know.
I
Hmm,
don't-
yes. It should be amended.
I would move it.
Get it right.
Jen? Are you with
Yes.
us?
I'm here. Sorry, trying to
So,
myself.
so there's a change in the motion. It was, made and seconded, but, the actual, Work order number should be 24-02. So should that have been amended before we asked for put the motion on the floor?
Yes. Yeah, you can just, so you have a seconded motion right now. You can vote that down and then just do a new motion with the correct citation.
Call the roll.
Ms. Kara?
Yes?
No.
Oh, new motion. No. Yeah.
That's never happened.
I should have caught it, Tommy.
So we're making a motion.
You want to vote no? Get rid of that motion. Oh, we all got to vote.
Ms. Kara?
No.
Ms. Kennedy?
No.
Mr. King? Ms. Hickman?
No.
Mr. Burns?
I could throw this off whenever. No.
Do whatever you want.
So, to make it proper, following Robert's Rules of Order, this motion should be amended. So it reads the work order 24-02 agreement. Is there a motion to amend the resolution?
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Now, we're going to vote on the amended resolution. Is there any discussion before we do that?
We have to motion in second.
Pardon me?
We have to motion in second
Didn't we?
for the amended.
Now that it's amended.
Right, now it's amended. Yes,
So also
I'm
move.
sorry.
Second.
There you go. Now we're good? Jen, we're good? All right, thank you.
You are good, yes.
All right. All right, now you can call the roll.
Ms. Kara?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes. Thanks, Dave. I changed it, but I should have called it. Thanks, Jen. You're not getting a sunburn, are you?
No, it's super cloudy here, sadly.
Oh. It's perfect. It's perfect here. Agenda item F1.
Agenda item F1 is for the New York and Ogdensburg Railroad, the approval of a grant agreement with the New York State Department of Transportation. The authority has received a passenger freight rail assistance program, PFRAP, funding grant agreement from the New York State Department of Transportation, NISDOT, which provides for track rehabilitation for the 286,000 to the Port Phase 1 project identified as NYDOT PIN number 793537.301. The project will be replacing approximately 10 miles of rail, 2 turnouts, 1 public and 1 private crossing, and a line service track to upgrade a segment of the Ogdensburg branch to accommodate industrial standard 286 cars. The Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority desires to advance the project by committing the fund amount of $556,892 for the local OBPA match. The breakdown of the funding shares being New York State Department of Transportation, $5,012,208. The Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority, $556,892, for a total of $5,568,920. Staff recommends acceptance of the grant offer from the New York State Department of Transportation for work described as 286K to the Port Phase 1 project identified as NYDOT PIN 7935.37.301.
Please read the resolution.
Resolved that the Executive Director of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority is hereby authorized and directed to execute all necessary agreements on behalf of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority with the New York State Department of Transportation in connection with the 286 to Port Phase 1 project. And it is further resolved that the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority desires to advance the project by committing funds for the local match. The breakdown of funding shares being New York State Department of Transportation, $5,012,208. The Augsburg Bridge and Port Authority, $556,892, for a total of $5,568,920. Resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be filed with the New York State Commissioner of Transportation by attaching it to any necessary agreement in connection with the 286K Port Phase 1 project. And it's further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Also move.
Second.
And a second? Any discussion?
Can I just throw in one thing?
Yes.
This project doesn't have as a deadline for completion of 2029. So in the meantime, when you see that 556,000, we have the intentions of going out looking for more funding for a match in other programs. But I will say, based on things we've done here before, that we won't commit to that. If the funding doesn't come in, the project we'll have to turn the money back. But it gives us approximately 2.5 to 3 years to look for additional funds that may be available to cover that share of the project.
So that will give us 10 miles of the 286. Is the rest of the line the additional, what is it, 17 miles? What is that rail weight?
I can't say that 17 is all 286.
I don't think
there's
so.
There's a good portion of it. I want to say we're
Closer to Norwood has the
this
286.
this is near Norwood. This 10 miles will be over that way.
Oh. What is it here to Fort?
There's some, I think, right close to the border. I don't think that's all 286.
Yeah.
But I think going that way, I believe 10 or 12 years ago, some of that was upgraded in another project. But we haven't done any rail upgrading. in quite a
Way
while.
too long.
Yeah.
Don't make me say bad things. So, I mean, I understand what the weight of the rail means, but if you would explain it to others, why is it important that we have 286-pound rail?
Basically, you can carry close to probably 15 to 20% more on a rail car. So you have less rail cars that you've got to move. And the limiting factor, and you all know that we have a rail bridge project, you still can bring over those cars. You go through the right protocols and speed and things like that. But currently, the limiting factor are those two bridges until they're, which we have funding to do, which has been a long time. But we want to resolve that. Once that's resolved, then you can start seeing those cars come across.
So, hypothetical, of course, what if we had a major project where material would come into the port and need to be railed another part of New York State? Can we handle that?
Yeah, we can, but there's an added cost because you're using the current configurations. There's ways around that. I know when they were bringing the cells in, you have a spacer car.
Yes.
And I'll just give you an example. So when you bring them across the rail, you space that out to where you're not point loading 3 nacelles right on a bridge as you're crossing it. So there's workarounds with that, but that costs money and time. Whereas just get this resolved through the current standards. And then I know Anthony can talk about it when you talk rail or anything, that's an issue they all ask, especially for bulk commodities.
Yes.
Bringing in different things like that.
Yeah. No,
That's
no,
pretty
that's-
much why you're not getting 100-ton cars.
Yeah, they're 92 to, but I think the bigger cars are pushing over 100. Yeah,
Right. That resolves that.
Right. Which is, what concerns me is that because of, I think, grants and everything out there, unfortunately, My opinion, we haven't been able to keep up with the weights I think we really need on that rail. The sooner we can fix those bridges, I could handle it. I know there's two of them. Maybe somebody that works down in somebody else's office could help us with grant funding.
Certainly have that discussion.
I think we need a discussion sooner than later. All right, rail's important.
I'll initiate that.
Thank you. All right, motion's been made and seconded, correct? All right. No further discussion by anyone? Thanks, Dave. Karen, call the roll, please.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King? Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Absolutely, yes.
Ms. Farah?
Yes.
Okay, we come to that part. Get back to our first page. So, no other, any other such matters, Lawrence?
No, Mr. Chairman, but given we've got two other,
Yes,
I would like to have an executive session on a small item that we need, the board needs to be updated on. So we probably should go into executive session.
Yes.
Come out of it.
and then go into
be
the
done
other
with it, and
two.
go into the other two.
Yes. Their motion for going to executive session,
I'll move that.
it's been made. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any executive session?
Thank you.
We back, we out, we on? Mr. Lawrence, any action need to be taken as a result of executive session?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any concluding comments from board members or authority staff at this time? Karen, anyone online? No. All right, next meeting date has been proposed for August 8th, Thursday at 5 p.m. Is there any kind of a consensus, or will that work for most people? Oh, luckily it's not on the 7th. I can do the 8th.
Yeah, the 8th is out for me.
8th is out for Dave.
Meet at 5.
Yep. Diane?
Should be fine for me.
We don't know about Megan or Nicole. You poll. All right, let's
That works really well.
let's tentatively keep it for August 8th at 5. Dave's been first. You don't have to tell us. All right, we're good. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? We stand adjourned at 6, can't see it.
24.
6:24. Thank you. Now, we have two other